news out of Columbia, South Carolina, just in the last hour or so as we were getting ready to do the show. We had gotten heads up, Colin and I, earlier in the day, this was probably coming. Smoke all morning following South Carolina's 59-42 loss to Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss. And here we go. Will Muschamp is out as head coach at South Carolina. John Whittle, J.C. Sherbert, all the guys over at the Big Spur have had you up to date. If you're a member over there, every second of this whole deal, it seems like a soap opera over the last couple of weeks because someone knows something here and someone knows something there. Well, there's no more guesses. There's no more whispers. So those guys have had you up to date to this point. And I cannot stress enough, if you are a South Carolina Gamecocks fan, or if you're just kind of morbidly curious about this thing from the outside, make sure you check out thebigspur.com. They will have you fully informed over there the minute something tangible and credible, and I can't stress those words enough, tangible and credible, happens. So here's the details that you need to know. Mike Bobo is going to be the interim head coach here for Carolina. I think they play Missouri Saturday, so we'll deal with that as it comes. Will Muschamp, 28-30 overall, 17-22 record overall in SEC play over the course of 5 seasons. And you could really summarize this a whole lot of ways. Why did it happen? Was it overdue? Should they have waited? What is the one question we've asked about Carolina? I don't know how many times I've asked it at this point, but it was, what's the identity of the program? Never good to be asking 5 years in. And it was supposed to be defense, if nothing else. I mean, you certainly wanted to put the foot on the gas a little harder offensively, but at least, you know, Will Muschamp, defense, at least you're going to be known for that, right? No, man. Right now, as we sit here in 2020, they are 12th out of 14 teams in the SEC in total defense. So, yes, it was probably time to make a change. Now, remember, a couple of keys, a couple of factors to keep in mind here. There's no more speculation about whether he will or won't be gone. Muschamp's out. So now, what is South Carolina? What has Ray Tanner done over there? What have the powers that be and the brokers behind the scenes, what have they put into motion for Carolina? Let's talk about this. Remember, towards the beginning of the year, when there were a lot of folks out there who were of the opinion that there's no way anyone will ever be fired in a COVID year, whatever that is. We've only had one of them. In a COVID year, no one will be fired. And I told you, I think it's true for most people, but someone's going to go rogue. Some program's going to go rogue, and here's what the factors have to be for a program to go rogue. And by rogue, I mean fire their head coach when everyone else is standing pat. What's going to have to happen is exactly what happened here. Now, first, the benefit of doing this is obvious. If you're Carolina and you're not exactly a Tier 1 program, you kind of bump yourself right to the front of a line you're normally never at the front of when it comes to maybe feeling out potential suitors, because you normally have to wait behind someone like USC or someone like Texas. Well, doesn't look like that's going to be the case this time around. So maybe you get access to candidates that you wouldn't have access to. But here's what's important to note. It's important to note they didn't fully go rogue. It's not like this stuff was decided in a knee-jerk fashion. It's very important. I can't overstate this enough. There were people who matter behind the scenes at Carolina, and I mean in terms of their wallet. There were people who matter who wanted this done before this year. Okay, so there were a lot of folks who entered 2020, COVID or not, who were already resigned to the idea that Muschamp is not the long-term answer here. So that was already the default setting. They didn't come into 2020 saying, that's our guy, and then watch a couple of losses pile up in, again, a COVID year, and all of a sudden say, oh, never mind, forget him. That's not the way this happened. I don't care what it appears to be on the outside. Folks in and around Carolina know different. So this is not a knee-jerk reaction. So if that's how they want to run the program there, I'm fine. I have no problem with that. I would have a problem if you were fully backing him and then you let this particular set of circumstances completely 180 degrees change your opinion. Can't stress it enough. That's not what happened here. So if it's not a knee-jerk reaction, and folks got tired of him selling, it's time for us to rebuild in year 5. You can't sell a rebuild in year 5. Month 5, maybe, yeah, but not year 5. Same question as always is what we arrive back at. If you've watched Late Kick for any amount of time, you know I just ask the same old question. Anytime you want to talk hot seat, anytime people at Carolina, up to and including this point, had said, Muschamp's not the guy for us, I said, okay, you're yelling at me. Take it down about 3 notches. It's not my program, it's your program. Here's all I would want to know. If I were a Carolina fan right now, here's all I would want to know. Do we have a definitively better option ready to take this job? You can't have one just as good. You can't even have one a little bit better because of what it takes to actually buy a staff out and then potentially buy another staff out and then potentially bring them in. They got to be definitively better to justify all that. Who is it out there? I'm not making the hire, so this is rhetorical. I'm asking you guys, and I'm asking Ray Tanner, and I don't necessarily know that he's going to return my text today or answer on the air, but who is it? Who's definitively better? Sounds like the right wallets are open. I will say that I don't think this move would have been made if there weren't assurances from the right people. Colin, I one day hope to be in a position where people out there are making, how many, 7, 8, 8-figure moves, and they need to come to me and say, Josh, are we okay to make this 8-figure move? And it takes my green check mark. I hope to one day be in that position. But what should they be looking for? Because a lot of you, as soon as I went on the Big Spur today and I said, hey, we're going to be talking about this at the top of the hour, and I asked you guys, hey, what are 3 words or less that you could use to describe how you feel right now? And a lot of you guys responded, well, basically in predictable manner, but a lot of you were responding to varying degrees that you were relieved, and now you want to know what's next. And so what should they look for? You can put your hot board of candidates out there. I'm sure they're already doing that all over the place. I would want an offensive mind. I would want a relentless recruiter and someone who knows the territory, or if not, someone who is already familiar with the territory, someone who understands how to fill a staff full of guys who are total warriors in the southeastern region. And C, I would really love to have the uh-oh factor. Here's what the uh-oh factor is. It's not internal. The uh-oh factor is when you announce your head coach, does it make the biggest opposition you have in your division think, uh-oh? You know, most recently who did that? You should know. You just played him 24 hours ago. When Ole Miss hired Lane Kiffin, no one predicted Ole Miss to win a national title. But you want to know what they did in Auburn and Baton Rouge and Tuscaloosa, College Station, Starkville? You want to know what they did? They said, uh-oh. At the very least, Ole Miss's hire got an uh-oh collectively out of the SEC West because nobody wants to play Lane Kiffin. You guys found out why the hard way last night. And so how does South Carolina go about finding their own uh-oh candidate? Is it Billy Napier? Is it probably a lot of hurdles to clear here, but would it be Hugh Freeze? Is it someone maybe a little bit off the radar that used to be a big name that's kind of moved to the background in the college football ether that is ready to reemerge? You may think I'm talking about Bob Stoops, and I'm not. But the point being, regardless of who it is, can you fill those 3 factors for me? Can you fill those 3 compartments? All I want is an offensive mind. I want someone who is a relentless recruiter, and I just want to make Kirby Smart or Dan Mullen or Jeremy Pruitt say, uh-oh. That's where we stand at South Carolina, and I'm sure a lot more will be coming out in the coming days.